So I was sitting here and I was working on this little thing right here. And I was getting the colors in, getting all the characters set up, and then I just like thought to myself, "Oh, I'm gonna work on this one next. I'm gonna go look up some pictures of characters from Champions so I can, you know, get an idea for what I want the overall palette to be." So I go, I'm so sorry. I go on the internet and I Google my things and I find something interesting that catches my eye. I'm really interested in marketing, so so this is I'm on Metacritic.com for all three of the games, and I just noticed something that really just like made me go, "What?" Okay. So here's the original one. Here's the original one just for an idea of how it started. August 10th, 2009. That's the release date of this one. That's the release date of the original. There's all kinds of whoa. Okay, that description was bigger than I thought it was going to be. So it's got 70 for critics, based on critics, and 8.2 based on users. So if we scroll down here, we can see there's a bunch of positives, and this guy went fucking crazy. Look at that. Most of them were more neutral than anything. Hence the score of 70. But then we notice over here the user reviews, 4 positive, 2 mixed, and in the critic reviews there's 9 positive, 7 mixed, and 1 negative. So we go over and look at the negative one, which is a 42, and it says, "As far as beginner games go, this one is about as elementary as it can be." Which I have no idea what it means. No idea what it means. Absolutely no idea. Actually, I might have an idea. It might just be like, it would have been too simple or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, most of these criticisms from the critics mention something about Pokemon or something about what was that other game? What was that other game? Something about collectible creatures. It was I don't remember, what was it, Spectroids? I think that's mentioned actually in the Champions one, because I do recall seeing it. But this one right here, hensing the name of this user, echoes quite a bit. They say a lot. I don't know why they decided to put the whole friggin' story in there. But yeah, they did. And that got a 70. So then we go to Champions, which is basically the like everybody thinks that this is the best game in the series. But when we go and look at it, it actually has less of a score. This is what caught my eye. It actually has a lower score than the original overall. Then again, there are, let's put it this way, 17 ratings for users, 12 for users, 17 for critics, 8 for critics. So maybe it's just because less people actually looked at it than they looked at the original, which makes me wonder why. Why would they look at the original and then not look at the sequel, which is deemed to be much superior? Which makes me think that when they looked at this one, they were like, eh, and then when they saw this one, they were like, I don't even want to look at it because this one wasn't really all that significant. Possibly, that could be the case. But it did have a less of a score, by being minus 2 points for the critics and a little bit lower for, hold on, I actually had to think about the math there. Point 0.8 points. Yeah, minus 8 points for the user score in terms of things and stuff. Anyway, so if we look here, from user reviews, we've got 4 user reviews total. At least sitting right here. And it says here that they're equal amount mixed and equal amount positive. Some person gave it a full top score. Oh my god, it's the guy again. Holy crap. Okay, they have a thing. We're gonna collapse that, actually, because it's so freaking huge. But, they gave it mixed and positive equally. But then in the critics, we have more mixed than we do positive. In fact, we have 3 times more mixed than we do positive. And the lowest score is a 55. Fossil Fighters Champions is I actually don't know that word. And too stuck on the source material to really stand out. Instead of bringing us something clever and entertaining, we're instead saddled with what feels like leftovers from the first game. That's really interesting. Hold on a second. I actually never seen this word in my life. I know. That's like the dumbest possible thing. I get so embarrassed when I see a word that I've never seen Typically, if an artist or work of art imitative of the work of another person and usually disapproved for that reason. Okay, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. And yes, people are saying this one. Let's take a look at this one from a user called Game Shark. Score of 58 for kids with a serious dinosaur affectation. Jesus, playing Fossil Fighters Champions will feel like discovering a buried treasure. And it's something to be said for a monster fighting RPG that doesn't require the same time and commitment as Pokemon games. As someone who plays... That's actually true. That's actually true. Pokemon is has a shit ton of stuff. Wow. Whoa, I've actually... Whoa! It just roasted the entire series in one sentence. For everyone else, though, there are better monster battling RPGs out there, published by the same company, and once you've played them, it's hard to see imitators, even ones with dinosaurs, in the same light. See, look at this Nintendo gamer. We've also played worse Pokemon knockoffs over the years. It's so funny because it's made by the same company. It's like, how do you rip off yourself? But it's... Oh, look, another person said the same thing. Champions might be worth digging up, but it's too similar to its predecessor to be a significant find. Oh my god! Oh my god! Hold on a minute. Is that why Frontier is so different? Is because they looked at these reviews, and there was, like, from the critics, and then they said, okay, then we'll make something different? But then, like, what the user said was the opposite of that. What the fuck? That is so weird. How does that work? How does that work? What do you do when you get this kind of results from... What do you do when you make a game and you go, okay, and then we'll do that again because that did pretty well, and then you go and make it again, but then, like, it gets people saying, oh, no, make something a little bit more different. So you go, or more different, make something more different. So you go, okay, and you make this, and people are like, no, make it back to the old way. What the fuck do you do then? Wait, was it screwed from the very beginning? What? How does that... What the fuck? How does that work? Okay, let's take a look at the positive reviews. Okay. The fossil cleaning mechanic is fun, and the battles are decent enough, so if you love dinosaurs or just want more fossil fighting, this game will likely not disappoint. Otherwise, you do well with to save your money with an actual Pokemon or Dragon Quest game. That's a positive review, y'all. So let's take a look at this. August 10th, 2009, November 14th, 2011, and then we got March 20th, 2015. So we had a 2-year gap here, and then here we had a 4-year gap, just about. Wait a minute. At the beginning and the start of the month always fuck me up. Anyway, but that's what that is. That is so fucking weird. Let's take a look at some more user reviews. Personally, I think this is the best. Oh wait, this is this guy again. That was funny. Okay, this game breaks from the norm. I was pleasantly surprised with the first game, and the second game only expands on the first with better combat, a more enriching story, and a larger selection of dinosaurs to choose from. The only thing keeping it from a 10 is its cliché story. Oh, gave him a 9. Jesus, that is so funny. Let's take a look at something really weird. A mixed review from a user. Oops, that's the whole thing. This game improved on the original formula, making it a much deeper RPG in its gameplay. The story is admittedly cliche and predictable as shit, but you don't see those complaints about Pokemon, do you? Considering all the bad Pokemon rip-offs out there. Dragon Quest Monsters, Joker, something like, I don't know. It's good enough. It's good that this one keeps somewhat original with good characters and gameplay. Okay, so basically what this person is saying is that the story was just a little bit too cliche. Even though you don't get that with Pokemon, but still. The thing about Pokemon is that it's fucking Pokemon. And the thing about Fossil Fighters is that it's Fossil Fighters. Pokemon is huge! Fossil Fighters, especially in comparison to Pokemon, is a little baby. Okay? It's so tiny. Because even though, despite the fact that it's made by the same company with the same idea, the thing about Pokemon is that it's been around since the 90s. Fossil Fighters is not even fucking 10 years old. Yeah, it's not even 10 years old yet, at least in US terms. It might already be 10 years old already in Japan's terms, but in the US, it's not until next year. Okay. This person said, although it's pretty similar to the original, Fossil Fighters Champions is still a fun experience, not a funny experience. Actually, it's a really funny experience that offers a much better story this time around. However, it does take a few steps back when it comes to art direction and stage design and difficulty. That's really interesting. That is really interesting. Hold on a second. So, when you think about it, so think about what Fossil Fighters the original looks like. It looks like the original Spyro games, doesn't it? Doesn't it look like the original Spyro games? I just realized how similar those look. Yeah, that looks a lot like those original Spyro games. And then, in Champions, they kind of, polished it a little bit, made it a little bit more detailed, and then in Frontier they made a humongous jump in terms of graphics. Not as big as the graphics from the Spyro trilogy, Jesus Christ. No, that would not as big as that, but still pretty damn big. So, let's take a look. Wait a minute. Okay, the reason why I jumped back for a second there is I just noticed Frontier has more ratings total than the rest of them. Fossil Fighters, the original, has 17 plus 17. Hold on. Has a total of 34 ratings, both critics and users. 12 plus 8. This one has 20. Champions has 20. And Frontier has 48, which makes me wonder, is it because there are more, or is it because more people were just so mad that they came over and did this? Is that possible? Because when you look at this, there are equal amount of positive, more mixed, and a much more negative. So do you think it's possible that, that's actually really possible? Oh, another thing I noticed. Fossil Fighters rated E. Fossil Fighters Champions rated E. Fossil Fighters Frontier rated E10+. Which is weird because in more of these reviews, it says that, hey, this is weird because I'm an older fan, and this one seems more targeted at children. But the thing about that is that let's look at the gap here. 2015... 2009. That's 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. 6-year gap. 6-year gap. So in the time between someone who played the original when it came out to when they played Frontier when it came out, and this is only a 2-year gap between Champions and Frontier, and not Frontier, the original and Champions. So that was only a 2-year gap, but the gap between the original and Frontier was a 6-year gap. You can go from being 10 years old to being legally able to drive a fucking car in 6 years. You can go from being 13. No, you can go from being 15 to being able to legally drink in the US in 6 years. 6 years is a long-ass time. So do you think it's possible that a lot of the negative reviews come from overly nostalgic fans because of the 6-year gap? I'm figuring this shit out. This is so cool. Okay, so let's take a look at the Frontier reviews. My god, let's go down to the bottom of the barrel with this. One person gave it a 0. Oh, and they had a lot to say. Okay. Oh, God, they had a lot to say. This is in the dark times, y'all. 2016. Okay, so those out there wanting to play this and hoping it was awesome Well, it's not. I'm a player of the entire series, which includes Fossil Fighters Original. See? And I loved it. See? This is literally proving my point. I still play it to test teams. Fossil Fighters Champions, and I played that one too. Their English is a little bit off. Then there's... Yep, their English is really off. It's either it wasn't their first language or they're really, really, not with it. Then there is this hot mess known as Fossil Fighters Frontier. And all they did was make it for younger audience, and they ruined for the older players like me, which doesn't... Hold on. Okay, for older... Oh! When they said younger audiences, they meant, fucking younger than the original players, because the original players, even if someone like today, even a kid today went back and played this game, then they played this game, then they played this game, how do you think they would feel? That's a really weird, I really want to experiment that. I really want a bunch of kids to go play all 3 games in order, or maybe even mix up the order to see how they feel. That would be really cool, just to see what would happen, because a lot of these negative reviews come from people who played the original game when it came out, or Champions when it came out. What's the gap between Champions? That's right. It's 4 years. 4 years. 4 years is a long time too, but not as big as 6 fucking years. Okay. Let's take a look at the rest of this one. Where did I leave off? Okay. Here's some things I miss in this hot mess I got from older games. Hot mess. That's a really reoccurring thing. Awesome characters like Rosie, Dino, Duna, Raptor, Knick Knack, Dr. Jones, and more. They were awesome, and the cleaning method was more iconic, cleaning method and the most iconic Vivosaurs like Spinax, V-Raptor, original artwork. Okay, so this person is saying, hey, wait a fucking minute, hold it. Sorehead, you have the audacity. Sorehead up against Dino Gigante. And Dr. Diggins up against Dr. Digmore. I guess. I mean, I have opinions. Anyway. Okay. Fossil Fighters Champion, Super Revival, Rupert, Todd, ZZ, oh, that's Zongazonga, Pauline, and others too. They got rid of the most OP Vivosaurs and also the greatest Dinorians. Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. They got rid of the most OP Vivosaurs. Whoever played the original game knows that these guys, and it probably said, are too OP. I remember having a crush on Duna. Who the fuck? Hold on a minute. There's a chance I might know this person. Okay, this is a horrible game for those who played the original games. Also, where are the Dinorians too? I seriously missed them. And the awesome music. Hold on a minute. You missed the Dinorians, but they weren't in Champions. Oh no, wait, they were in Champions for DLC that you can't get anymore. How long was that available? Wasn't that available for like 1 or 2 years? I don't even know how long that was available. But then again, in Frontier, the DLC you can get, and it will never go away because it's been put onto AR cards. So they literally fixed that problem. That's so weird. Okay, this one looks interesting. This one really caught my eye. For a game clearly geared towards children, the difficulty spikes and grind in the later part of the game didn't really make sense, nor did teaching kids to win their battles with what equates to a mean steroid habit. Okay, I just fixed the analogy. Okay, I fixed the analogy. For a second, when he was talking about the steroids, I thought he was talking about dark energy, and then I realized he was talking about the support shots. Oh, that is so funny. That is wicked funny. I always wondered how those support shots worked. So the difficulty spikes and grind later in the later part of the game. He's clearly talking about the Dreadraven boss battle. Now, the thing about the Dreadraven boss battle is that the thing about it, when you first play through a game, you don't really go around and talk to every single NPC you can find. Even if the NPCs tell you more than once, you should go talk to more NPCs. The thing about it is that if you actually went and talked to NPCs on their first try, you would find lots of helpful hints that would help you out in that boss battle. But the thing is that you probably didn't. So... But then on my second time around, I actually went around and I found really useful information. I was like, I kind of wish I knew that the first time around, but I won anyway. This one got a 30. That's alright. Oh, this one said something about the nostalgia. But let's actually look at one of the more positive ones, because those are new. Okay, this one's from a critic. Players wanting a simple but entertaining light RPG. Are you sure about that? Did you play the whole fucking game? Players wanting a simple but entertaining light RPG experience will scratch that itch well with Fossil Fighters Frontier Light. Are you talking about, like, in terms of focus? Or in terms of story? Because, like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure out what they're talking about when they mention light. Light as in, like, not super dedicated. They might be talking about it that way because, like, the story's pretty heavy. Story can be pretty heavy. Blah, blah, blah. There's also the whole focusing on support chat thing. Okay, this one's from a user. Amazing game, kind of like a strategy game later on. You have to choose the right Vivos to use to choose the right Pale Pals. That was a really funny typo. Okay, and choose the right Paleo Pals to tag along with you. Beware, this game is addicting. That I've never heard before. 0 out of 2 users found this helpful. Oh my god, wait, that's really... Whoa! I've never heard of it being addicting, except for... Actually, I have. I have heard of that from me and, like, 2 other people, or 1 other person. Oh, let's look at this one that gave it an 8. Oh, that's a big one. While Fossil Fighters Frontier didn't offer anything particularly new to the field of 3DS gaming, I still found it enjoyable after purchase. It reminded me a lot of my first playing the game, the original DS game... Jesus! It reminded me a lot of my first playing of the original DS game a while back. The characters are lovable, albeit a little bit stereotypical, at times a bit much so. Okay. I know exactly who they're talking about. It is so unbelievable how I know exactly who they're talking about. They're talking about the world leaders, probably Roland, and yeah. Okay, it's still a slew of boys and girls that I enjoyed getting to know throughout the game. Good job. Good job. The mechanics are repetitive, but it's nothing that kids wouldn't find too boring. That's good. The story's interesting, dialogue fairly well constructed. The music's enjoyable. And the music's enjoyable. Good. Yeah. I noticed that, this is from my own words, but, I noticed how in the first 2 games, they used this particular type of, it sounded like it was made on one particular software, where it was made to mimic, like, those early 2000s, early 2000s RPGs where it was like, well, all those fucking trumpets. But, you know, the trumpet noise, yeah, that shit. But in Frontier, they didn't really do that. They used something that seemed a little bit more advanced, and, it didn't have that fucking trumpet noise, and it was really weird. It was really weird to me because they, like, combined a bunch of genres. But they still kept the... I can't explain it. I can't explain it without going into deep detail. Anyway, where were we? And while older audience would find the game a little more on the corny side, it's a perfect game for kids who can easily log in hours into the game. So while it's nothing new, it's certainly not a boring game by any means. Now, this is what I've been trying to say, is that it's when... Okay, so, let's think about it this way. There was a 6-year gap between the original and Frontier. 6 years go by, all your original fans are grown up. They're probably focusing on something more like Pokemon. And you want a new audience. You've got a whole new generation ahead of you. Why not make something more geared towards those new kids so that they can get into it? And be like... Because when you're releasing something and you're announcing it at E3, in 2014, they're not going to want to look at something that has the graphics quality of something from Fossil Fighters in 2009. They're want to go look at something when you're up against fucking... What was going on around in Pokemon? I think it was Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. That's a pretty big thing to go up against from your own damn company. So, like, considering that, And considering the graphics of the games in that time, you want to make something that looks like it's not a piece of crap from the surface. And I think that's what they were going for here. I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for. Yeah, we got a score of 69 over here. The creators have developed a unique world for this game. The variety of Vivid stories and ability to customize everything allows for some personality and replay value. And overall, the game is fairly enjoyable. On a more personal note, it kept me coming back to see what other fossils I could find. So that counts something too. So I wonder what inclined them to make it a mixed review rather than a positive review. Because that one sounds positive, but it's listed as a mixed positive with a score of only 69 rather than, like, 75 or whatever the limit is. So, that was literally, there was nothing negative about that. But what I think is weird is the variety of Vivisaurs they mentioned. Did this person play the previous, hold on. Did this person play the previous games? Let me check. Hold on. There's a review from IGN here on the original game. I didn't notice that. The only excuse for Fossil Fighters' sophomoric presentation could be that it's targeted for a younger DS gamer. Interesting. Sophomoric presentation. Is that talking about the graphics? Or the story? What is that talking about? But no, this person that left this 69 score did not, play the previous games, or at least the critic, or the company, or whatever the hell it is. Let's look at this one from this one called Gaming Nexus, because it looks like there's quotes in here. The story takes a while to actually become relevant. The tournaments can be a bit difficult in the early going. The digging can get repetitive, and the difficulty spike can go from easy as pie to I got one-shotted rather quickly. That is true. However, my experience with it wasn't all that bad, and I did overall enjoy it. But having never played another Fossil Fighters game, this might not be my best introduction to the series from what I've read. That is something that someone else mentioned. A Frontier hater, said it was sad that this was the introduction that people got to Fossil Fighters. But then again, if they were introduced to Fossil Fighters via either these two, how would they feel about Frontier? I mean, if you were going to be introduced to Fossil Fighters, your best bet was probably to be around Fossil Fighters Champions, because the first Fossil Fighter game I ever played was Champions. And I played that thing for hours on hours and ages I played it. And I fucking love Frontier. And I didn't really think that the original was all the... Like, literally, I was on the Amino, and I was in communities, and I was talking about how I was going to get the original soon. And how my favorite was Frontier. And everyone was so hyped up about the original that I was just like, my biggest fear was that when I finally got it, I was going to be disappointed because the hype raised my expectations. That was my biggest fear. So, and it turns out it was kind of true. That kind of happened. It didn't really hit it, though. It was good, but it was like a movie that you go to see and you're like, oh, that was good, but I'm not gonna buy it on DVD. Yeah, you know what I mean? And let's take a look at the rewards, actually. Oh, wow. What? Hold on a second. Let's take a look at these awards and rankings. So, Fossil Fighters got a number 60 Best DS Game of 2009. Number 28 Most Discussed DS Game of 2009. Number 74 Most Shared DS Game of 2009. Interesting. Whoa. Champions got number 24 Best Game of 2011. Number 18 Most Discussed Game of 2011. And 16 Most Shared DS Game. Wow. Hold on a minute. Whoa. Okay. So, number 47, Best 3DS Game of 2015. Number 22, Most Discussed Video Game. and 3DS game, and number 36 for most shared 3DS game. So first place, second place, third place. So this one was the most oh, that's so weird. Oh, that is so fucking weird. So what I think happened here between these two was that people saw this and then they saw that Champions came out and I was like, I won't bother. Because there are more reviews here than there are here. Like almost, like there's twice as many. Jesus. So, oh my god, figuring this all out is so cool. But with all of this being said, I'm wondering what the, like, how would they look at all of this and say what's our solution for the fourth game if there is going to be a fourth game? Would they continue what they had with Frontier, like in terms of graphics and what's going on and stuff like that, but they would just edit the style a bit? Because in every single game, they changed the battle style. It was always 3v3, but in the first two it was just you, but in the third game it was you and two AI. So what would they do? That's what, like what are they thinking right now? Did they just drop it after that? Did they like go, okay, we gotta save the series because this has been going on for 4 years. We haven't released a game for it. We should release it because there was a 2-year gap in between this. Does that mean? Hold on a minute. There's a 2-year gap between these two. There's a 4-year gap between these two. Wouldn't it be funny if there was an 8-year gap between Frontier and something else? That would be hilarious. That would suck, but that would be hilarious. So, what are they doing? So I think what they're gonna try to do is they're gonna try to take what the good shit from here and here, and most likely Champions, because that one was the one that got like the big boom, and the best from here to here. So what was the best about Frontier? What was the best about it? Well, one thing I did find to be the best about Frontier, personally, and I've seen a lot of people say this, was, the style of it, the music, especially the music is the best, and, probably the characters. Even though the best thing about Fossil Fighters is probably the characters. They really stick to it. But then that does have a problem about Fossil Fighters, is that it can't always be politically correct, especially in terms of some stereotypes. Even in terms of characters and Vivisaurs, maybe. So, we got it. Woo! So there's a lot to work with here, especially when it comes to trying to figure out, like, what would be the best, for each one. Like, taking the best of the best and shoving it into one game, but also making sure it's balanced and everything. Oh, that sounds so much fun, but so hard. That's weird. They don't have number of players listed here, but they have number of players listed here. Hold on a second, this isn't correct. You can have more than 2 players in Frontier. What? You can have like 3 to 4. What the fuck? That is so weird. That is so weird, because that's not correct. That's not correct. I've seen footage. That's not correct. It can't be. It can't be correct. I mean, you can have 2 players in battle, but in, like, when it comes to being in dig sites, you can have, like, way more than that. So, this is a lot of data to work with. So, overall, Frontier got 3rd place, but by how much? A total of, for users, it had more of a bigger jump. It wasn't even 20 points less. It was 13 points left? Yeah, that was 13 points left. And for critics, but for the user score, that was a bigger chunk. That is so weird. But it's like so interesting, but it's so cool. Like how would we be able to fix such a thing? How would Nintendo be able to fix it if they decide to fix it? It just blows my mind, dude, because there's all kinds of, like, mixed, like, there's all these kinds of contradicting, battling things from both critics and users, and it's just,
like battling opinions, and it's so weird because like it's like leaving us in a point where, and Nintendo we're in a point where like what would we do? What would we do? Because we've been told do this thing, but the moment we did it, they were like, no, don't do that, do the other thing. But it's like, what do you want us to do?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been talking about this for a long time. I should probably get back to work. But, like, I just saw that and I was like, I gotta talk about it because it's just blowing my mind right now. So, I guess, like, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. Absolutely nothing. But figuring out is like, oh, it's like a gold mine to me. I don't, it's just because I find it cool. So, yeah, there's that. State your thoughts on what you think could be a theory as to what the hell is going on. Go for it, man.